What is going on, guys? Welcome back. We are Seeking Spirits, and today we are at one of the most haunted places in New Jersey. We are at the Burlington County Prison.
Yes.
Something very close to us that we haven't got a chance to investigate yet. Finally glad we're here.
Yes.
So a little bit earlier we came here and we did kind of like a walkthrough with a guy named Kyle. He was awesome.
He was amazing.
Absolute legend. Gave us a bunch of the backstory and a bunch of his paranormal experiences and stuff like that. So that's going to be what the podcast is today. So we're going to cut to that in a minute, but we're really excited to investigate here. We've been trying to get in here for like a year, but it's only open one day a week and it's been booked like solid.
And they did renovations, so they were closed for a bit. So, you know, when it's only one day a week,
it's kind of hard. So
yeah.
But we're finally in here, so we're excited to see what happens. A lot of claims of people getting touched and stuff. You'll hear more about that in a second, but it's going to be an interesting one. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video because we're going to have a sneak preview of the investigation video here, and I know it's going to be crazy. Like I said, people get touched and all that kind of stuff. He said you good chance we'll get EVPs and stuff like that, so I'm sure we're in for a good night. We're actually about to go start that now. We're going to film this later, but you're going to go see past Nick and Lexi talking to Kyle right about now.
Okay, so what's your name and what's your association with the prison?
So my name is Kyle and I am a museum attendant for the Burlington County Prison Museum.
Awesome.
I do a lot of research as well for the prison.
Oh, very cool. And so you said that you have had experiences here. As we go around, are you cool to share them where they've happened?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, well,
let's get underway.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So a lot of times in here, I've been touched on my back. Sometimes I'll feel like a rubbing sensation.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I'll feel like a hand resting on my shoulder. Just earlier today, I had something like messing with my elbow.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does it feel like when you get touched? Do you feel like it's a normal human, or is there any sort of other sensation that comes along with it?
Sometimes at first it feels like someone's actually touching me, but a lot of the other times it's just like a tingling feeling that's moving around.
Yeah, she's been touched multiple times.
Yeah.
Like we went to Penhurst. I don't know if you know about Penhurst, but she got full on grabbed on the arm, and you were describing it as like a tingle.
Yeah, it was kind of like electrode, shock. Not like shock, but like a TENS unit, you know, where it's like pulsating, like you can feel like it. And it freaked me out. So, and that happens to you like all the time here?
Yep, every single day I get some form of activity.
Oh.
Whether it's me, somebody else.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
I was sitting in here on a Thursday with nobody around, and all of a sudden I heard a woman's cough coming from the women's wing of the prison.
Oh.
Okay.
So definitely active.
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of the most haunted places in the state.
Very cool. Well, I guess we're in for a treat tonight,
I feel like we've been
then.
kind of sleeping on this place. It was like so close, and you guys are only open on Saturdays, so we never could make it work. And we're like, oh, it's just a little prison. And then we get here, and you're like, I get touched all the time. Women coughing. I'm like, okay, this might be crazy. So what is this room? What was it when it was a prison?
So when it was a prison, this part right here on this side was the intake office. Then where this wood is was the there would have been a wall going all the way down.
Okay.
And then on the other side, plus the bathroom next to it, was the warden's apartment.
Okay. And that's where we just were in the museum, or the art gallery. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yep, because once that was built, the warden ended up moving over there. Robert Mills, he was the architect behind this building. He was also behind the Washington Monument.
Oh, very cool.
Wow.
And that key that you see hanging up on the wall is the original key to the building.
Oh, that's dope. That's like huge.
That's the world's biggest key, it looks like.
And that door that you guys walked through is the original door to the building as well.
Oh, very cool.
Wow.
And that's 1811?
Correct. 1811. The prison ran from 1811 to 1965. Okay. As of today, it is the second longest running prison in the Western world.
Tons of history. That probably explains why
it's
so
haunted.
Lots of energy. So, wow, okay.
There was many hangings
on
grounds, Joel Clove, he was actually hung off-site, but his body is actually buried in the back left corner of the courtyard.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
definitely need to see where that is before you leave, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Cool.
cool. Jeez.
Awesome.
Go this way, and
Okay,
I'll show
perfect.
you one of the corridors.
Awesome. Oh, wow. It's like the architecture is actually very pretty. You know, prison and all, but
Yeah.
pretty.
Pretty as a prison can get, right?
Yeah. I like the arch ceilings.
So each floor has the same exact layout. Each floor had 2 wings of 4 cells. And originally, the back cell was turned into the bathroom in 1950 when they finally got plumbing.
Got it.
Now,
Wow.
prior to that,
Mhm.
if you look in this cell,
Mhm.
you'll see this bucket that's all the way in the very back.
And that's where they.
That was their bathroom.
Oh.
Okay. They just so that's
Now, Robert Mills, he intended this prison to be housing 40 people comfortably.
Mhm.
Well, at one point, there was 150 to 200 inmates in this building.
Wow.
geez.
That's a little bit of overcrowding situation.
Tiny bit of an overcrowding situation. Wow.
And I've looked at a bunch of newspaper articles. Camden County Jail would use this place to make their jail look better.
Oh wow.
Oh, yes, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, you're like,
Okay.
hey, this is what we don't want to do. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
The freeholders have said that this place was unsanitary.
Yeah, I would imagine with the bucket.
Jeez.
Oh.
And I mean,
And they had fireplaces in. Oh.
each cell had a fireplace at the very beginning, and that's how they would heat their cells.
That's interesting.
Now, on record, there is no fireplace incidences between inmates.
Mhm.
However, 2 inmates lit their beds on fire to try to escape.
Oh wow.
Were they successful?
Not at all.
Good try. Good try. Why not?
There has been many, and I mean many, escape attempts.
Okay.
If you could imagine the movie scenes where they tie their bed sheets together
Mm-hmm.
and throw it over the wall, yeah, that's happened a lot here. A lot of them also successful.
Oh wow.
Joel Clove was one of them who did that.
Oh wow.
And he was the person that stabbed his girlfriend or wife.
I believe so,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
And each bed is a straw mattress,
Okay.
and each prisoner, as they came in, were given a Bible to read while they were in here. Now, because Robert Mills, he was a Quaker,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
he really wanted this prison to be built on reform.
Got you.
It was like that at first. Towards the end of its lifetime, not at all.
Yikes. Yeah.
It started with good intention, but it didn't end with good intention.
Not
That's
at all.
rough. So.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. This is crazy.
Yeah, it is cool. Oh wow.
A lot cooler down here.
So down here has the same exact layout, and a lot of times when women walk down this corridor, they say they start to get an intimidation feeling.
Love that for me tonight.
Everywhere we go, there's always like a spot in there where they're like, women, when they come through here, get affected really badly. Everywhere. Wow.
Yeah.
And I believe these were cells at one point,
Mhm.
and then I believe they also wanted to make this whole bottom floor a workshop.
So to try to commit to that like reform, give them skills and jobs and things like that.
Interesting.
This was a debtor's prison at one point, so it had a lot of debtors coming in here trying to work off their debt.
Okay.
Wait, so they came to prison because they were in debt?
Yes, debt was a crime at one point.
Oh wow. I would be. Lock me up.
Every single college student,
Yeah,
including
exactly.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
for real. That's crazy. Oh my goodness.
during the time that it was overcrowded, in order to fight that, they lined this entire corridor with bunk beds.
Oh wow.
What?
This was mad crowded at some point.
Yeah.
Down here.
One day I was walking down here by myself,
Mhm.
and it was about in this area, and all of a sudden I got pushed in my chest.
Oh.
It literally stalled me and had me lean back a little bit
Oh,
when it
geez.
happened.
Oh my my gosh. So when that happened, were you like completely freaked out? Were you like, I'm gonna leave the building?
I was more confused.
Yeah, you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, because I was like, why did I stop? There's nothing in front of me.
Yeah.
And, yeah, but luckily enough, oddly enough, I should say, on my drive home, because that stalled me for 5 seconds, a car swerved in front of me, 5 seconds ahead of me.
Wow, you know what's
That happens.
It does happen, like stuff to try to protect you. We're like big advocates of like everything happens for a reason if it's like really weird and you don't even know for like years. But that's like such a good example, same day.
Yeah.
So you're like kind of grateful that the ghost put.
Absolutely.
You're like, thanks for pushing me, my guy.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
That's so
Oh.
interesting.
We do get a lot of spirit box activity down here.
Okay.
We do know of one particular spirit that's down here, and that's William Henry King.
Okay.
So if you do come up with that name earlier or later, he was one that's absolutely here. Now we are in the kitchen of the prison, and this is actually where the prisoner chef slept.
Oh wow, he slept in the kitchen. That's
Wow.
crazy.
So just ate, slept, and
All in the same place.
breathing his job.
So basically, this is where he would sleep, and then right next to us was the cafeteria.
Okay.
Now, originally, when it was the 40 inmates, they would bring them down here in shifts. But once it got overcrowded, they just brought them their food in literal doggy bowls.
Oh my gosh.
Or at
Dog
least-
people?
Okay, I call them doggy bowls because they really resemble doggy bowls, but they were regular food bowls.
Okay, so maybe something that is just they weren't gonna give them high class like ceramic bowls or pottery.
No. Oh my
Not
gosh.
at all.
Okay, that's crazy.
And the food they would often give is meats, vegetables, grains, sometimes cooked cereals, sometimes pasta, and then they would have water, cider, and milk to drink.
Oh, okay.
Now, the food quality was really good, so good that some past prisoners who have spent time in here, in the armory, and in the current prison, they have actually said that the food was better here than in all of those.
Wow. So the chef must have been on point.
Killing it.
However, there were a lot of riots because of the food quality.
Really?
They would have good quality food, then they would slowly decrease it, then there would be a riot, so then they bring back the good quality food, slowly decrease it, riot, and it was an endless cycle.
That seems like they probably should have figured that out.
Trying to cut corners, save money.
Yeah, well, isn't the entire prison system everywhere, right? Like,
Sounds about right.
dang.
Wow, okay. That's crazy. I still can't get over the fact that he had to sleep in here where he worked and cooked.
Well,
Was the cook an inmate too?
Yes, he
Oh,
was.
okay. That makes a
So,
little bit
yeah.
more sense.
he would sleep in here, and then right next to us was the cafeteria, and then beyond that was where the kitchen appliances were once they got them.
Okay. So anything in here? Do you get any claims in here or
So-
anything?
Not in here, but an inmate the chef was beaten to almost death in here.
Oh,
He made it out to the hospital and later died in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
was it because the food quality was going down?
Yes, and
Oh.
for another reason, which I'll tell you guys later.
Oh,
Okay, perfect. Spooky. I like it.
You like a little bit of mystery.
We've also had women get touched in their leg down here.
Yay.
Oh wow.
I love that for me.
Over here is where the appliances would have been,
Okay.
but this is also the way that anybody who wanted to go out into the courtyard, they would go out through this door right here. Eventually, because of the overcrowding, they ended up locking that door and then putting a door on the outside here and then shoving 6 to 8 inmates in there.
Oh my god.
A lot of people have gotten very uncomfortable feelings over here. I have felt like something was staring at me, watching me as I was down here.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Oh gosh. Okay, interesting.
So it's already happening.
Wow. Okay.
Consider the ghosts in here, or at least the spirits, to be respectful to a degree.
Good.
To a degree.
Because, I mean, if you tell them you don't want something to happen to you, they will leave you alone.
That's nice. So if I'm like, please don't touch me, they'll be like, okay, girl. Love
but
that.
if she's like, you can touch Nick, then they'll be like, perfect, smack.
So in here is the workshop. So when debtors were imprisoned, they would come down here and they would actually work to pay off their debt. They would build anything from baskets, buckets, molds, mops, and brooms, and then it would be shipped off and sold.
Okay, interesting.
That's wild. And so is that equipment like original?
So this was created by the local trade school here.
Oh, okay.
So that is not the original.
Okay, just replicas. That's
Yes.
cool then.
Yeah.
Gives you an idea of kind of what's
Like
going
some
on over there.
trigger objects also.
True, very true. Lots of energy, lots of different people doing different things.
For sure.
We just had renovations finish up January 11th.
Yeah, we were trying to book for a long time and couldn't because of them.
Yep. So a lot of activity in the 90s during the renovations were sparked up afterwards.
Okay.
So you might have that kind of
An influx.
activity.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's
We love to hear
good.
that.
So
Yeah.
glad that we waited until after the renovations then.
Because in the 90s, the renovation workers had tools thrown.
Okay. Maybe we can ask if maybe we can have something moved tonight. Probably be a
Yeah.
good
I should have
spot.
brought my tools.
I feel like a spot like this too is like it's a little more underground. Like it's not like it's not like a Penrose or anything like that. So not as many people come through. So like when you can get a lot of good activity because they're like kind
Yeah.
of gnawing at the bit to like communicate with people.
As we walk over here, you'll notice the signs right here. So this talks about a murder that occurred.
Oh, lovely.
So William Henry King, the warden of the prison, was actually murdered right here.
Oh,
The warden.
Yes.
Wow.
So back then, wardens were the same term as guards.
Okay.
So this prison, when it was at its overcrowdedness, had 3 wardens to the 100+ inmates.
that seems a little not.
Dangerous?
Yeah, just a little.
In 1920.
Yep.
End of watch. 1920. That's crazy.
Now, after the inmate killed William Henry King, he was the inmate who ran over to the prisoner chef and bashed him in the head.
Oh, okay. So that guy just went on a rampage. Yep.
One name that you might get either down here or up by the dungeon is Doris Buchanan.
Okay.
I feel like that name is familiar to me.
So the last name Buchanan, he was famous.
Yes.
I can't remember off the top of my head what he did. I do believe he did something with circuses. Do not quote me on that.
Okay. I'll have to look it up because the name seems very like familiar to me, but I can't place it.
So, and Doris, she was jailed in here because she was thought to have been the murderer of her husband.
Oh.
But then she was later found innocent.
Yeah. They always like to pin it on us.
I mean, this prison had a lot of interesting inmates. We've had witnesses jailed here. If they couldn't pay their $500 bail, they were stuck here.
Oh my God.
Wow. You know, that's so crazy because don't you feel like it would just take more money from the state to and feed them and like, well, I guess depends on the time.
Yeah.
$500 is, I mean, it's still a lot of money, but
In the 1800s, that's where I've seen a lot of the witnesses being kept in jail. That usually would mean at most a week.
okay.
Especially if it was a murder charge,
Mhm.
because they were hung within a few days or a week after their trial.
Oh wow.
Damn.
So do you know like an estimate on how many people have been hung here?
8.
Okay.
It's quite a bit of.
A lot.
The last being Rufus Johnson and George Small, which we have an exhibit up by the dungeon.
Okay. Cool.
We will definitely get scared by the heater later. We always get scared by heaters, but we love them because cold.
Another incidences in this area, someone was just visiting during the day, and through that cubby hole that has the heater, they saw an apparition.
Oh. Yeah. I'm probably going to be the one to see it. Okay.
Well, one paranormal investigation group, they were sitting on these steps, and they had an apparition run at them from the hallway at them.
I'm not scared at all.
Yeah, running at them is kind of scary.
So have you ever seen an apparition yourself?
So I can't say yes or no to that. I may have, because it happened out the corner of my eye.
It always does, and we're always like, are our eyes tricking us, or is there something? And sometimes we'll catch something on camera, and it'll be like super far away. We're like, was that it? We don't know.
Yeah, we were just at a school in Ohio, and I was like, I think I just saw something peek around the corner, and then I go back and edit the video, and you can see this little bit of a head come out and come back in, and I was like, validation! It's always like that. You always see it out of the corner of your eye. You just never know.
And because it's out the corner of your eye, you're like,
Did
it happen?
Is it my mind playing tricks on me? Did I just catch like some type of shadow play with like the light or something like that? But you know, it's always that holy grail to see an actual like full body or something. Still never seen that. We've been doing it.
I have
She's
Old College or Old Hospital on College Hill.
I still haven't. I'm waiting. Hopefully tonight.
Yep, fingers crossed.
Oh jeez.
So this is one example of the graffiti. We have graffiti on all 3 floors. Downstairs, there is a men's only graffiti sign, which, oddly enough, it's pointing towards this side, but the women's wing is on this side of the building.
Huh. That's so cool, though.
And that graffiti right there, I do believe it is like a 1950, 1952 drawing of graffiti. It was actually a self-portrait of one of the women prisoners here.
That's really cool. Wait, what is that? Music?
It's the church.
Oh, okay.
I was like, close to a church.
I was like, is a ghost playing music?
I noticed above you, there's like nails in the window. Like, is that like original, like to prevent climbing?
That is put in there to stop birds from nesting.
I was like, oh gosh, that's kind of brutal.
I mean, when this was an active prison, these windows were not existent whatsoever.
Oh wow, there wasn't even a window?
I mean, well, the glass window.
Okay. It was just the bars.
Yes. Okay. Which a lot of inmates used to escape. Some inmates have actually chiseled out the window and went out the window.
With what?
So one of them, I read, actually took a metal piece of their door off and used that to chisel their way out.
I mean, it's crafty. I'll give it to them.
Resourceful.
We've had inmates go through the walls, go through the roof, go through their windows.
Wow.
We also had an inmate who just walked out the front door.
Oh!
Because the caretaker forgot to lock the front door.
Oh my gosh.
Seems reasonable.
Do we have do you have a name on who did that now?
So I tried my best to look. I could not pinpoint a name anywhere on there.
That's amazing, man.
And were these, like, numbered at all? Was there any, like, records of who was kept in what cell, or?
So it wasn't records on where they stayed, but we do have logbooks of every prisoner that came in here.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that'll be useful when we get names, you know, to be able to corroborate it.
So this was originally a cell, but then it was later changed to a bathroom.
Okay. I was like, this is kind of a bougie cell. It's bigger than the other one. 2 windows.
Yeah. So originally, the tub would have been right here.
Okay.
Then the toilet was right here, and then you have the sink right there.
Very cool.
Now, the women, they were actually never allowed out of their cells. So, if they had to use the bathroom, there was originally a cutout that went all the way through from the very beginning all the way down here, which you will be able to see that upstairs.
Okay.
So they were able to essentially go in each other's cells and like hang out with each other?
Correct.
Huh.
Well, so did they trust the women more?
Or were they treating them worse? I can't
Can't decide.
Almost,
Yeah.
That was for everybody. Everybody had the same.
Oh, okay.
Just a lot of them were also covered up.
I gotcha.
Okay, so there would be like bars on some of them.
Yes. If you guys look above you, you'll notice next to this fire alarm or smoke detector, you'll notice this hole.
Yeah.
So above us is the men's wing, and that hole goes from floor to ceiling. The peephole.
Oh, a peephole.
A peephole.
Oh, wow. So they chiseled that down to look at the women.
Basically.
Men.
How bad do you gotta be to be looking through a
Well, they're
peephole?
already in prison, so they're down pretty bad.
Exponentially bad, yeah.
And I mean, it's also in a very bad spot
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
above the sink.
Yeah.
So they're getting a lot of action washing hands.
Yeah, oh my gosh, those hands. That's crazy.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
I saw this on a video.
Wow.
Right there, that is a jewelry safe. And this was actually so large and so heavy that they had to dismantle it, bring it up piece by piece, and then assemble it right then and there.
Wow. So was it for the jewelry of the inmates or was it for like the warden?
I would have to say the inmates, just because there was no, I haven't found any other evidence of another place for them to store their goods while they were in here.
Okay.
A lot of the inmates, our original clothing attire was the clothes that they came in on.
Really? So they would just have one outfit?
Yep.
Dang.
Eventually, it was the clothes they came in on, plus overalls.
Well, I mean, back then you didn't have like the whole inmate suit with the numbers and stuff like that, right? So it's because it was so long ago.
And then eventually, it did change to that, because this place opened till 1965.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's crazy. Did you get activity in here because of like all these artifacts and stuff?
So, I haven't, but people have said that they've gotten their leg touched in here. It was a woman.
Okay.
Just like that.
Yay! It's
like,
As of yet, since I started here, have gotten activity in this room.
okay.
well,
Lexi Solo is what you're saying.
I'm so excited.
And right next to the safe, you have the artifacts on how they would have transported the prisoners, along with a weapon that Detective Ellis Howard Parker took from a prisoner.
Wow. Yeah, those look crazy.
Ellis Howard Parker is the man in that portrait right there.
Oh.
A dapper gentleman.
And right next to me is his evidence safe.
Oh.
Now, it was opened up, and what we did find in it was an ice bill. Ellis Howard Parker, he was referred to as America's Sherlock Holmes,
Okay.
but he had controversy towards the end of his life. Because in the Charles Lindenberg kidnapping case, he believed that the lawyer that was involved with the case was involved with the kidnapping.
Oh.
Bold claim.
Well, he then kidnapped the lawyer and then tortured him to try to get information out of him.
Oh, wow.
Oh. I'll take that back. I mean, his portrait's pretty dapper, but it sounds like he was kind of a criminal.
A vigilante, if you will.
Now, he ended up spending the rest of his life in the Trenton State Jail,
Okay.
and he ended up passing away in jail.
Wow.
That's crazy. Well, now I wouldn't be surprised if he kept maybe some unsavory items in that box.
Either that or nothing.
True.
And he just, because in other crimes that he was the detective on, people were coerced into confessions as well.
Ooh.
So it's like, oh, I have this big box of all this evidence, and it's really nothing in there. He's just kind of coercing people to.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, that's.
He was just storing his meat in there. Or something.
Yeah, he's got a couple sandwiches in there. It's full of important documents, I promise. Like, I've got pictures, I've got letters. Don't look in there.
There you guys can actually see the different types of sentences for different crimes.
Oh, wow. Burning barn, 30 days.
The one that always makes me crack up is the horse stealing is 57 days. Abduction of a person is 14 days.
Yeah, the first place my eyes went was abduction, and it just says 14 days.
Not the one underneath of it. Fortification makes you married.
Oh.
Yeah. Fortification. Married? Question mark?
I don't know. I just thought, wow, 14 days for abducting somebody. I didn't even get that far down the list.
Oh my gosh.
So they forced them into marriage?
Basically, yeah.
It says In 1869, a 12-year-old girl was jailed for arson. 12.
We've had 10, 11, 12-year-olds in here for murder.
That's crazy.
They murdered their grandmother.
Wow.
Oh.
We also had a group of 12 to 14-year-olds in here because they were annoyed that their neighbor did not give them a ride on his carriage. So they decided to just take it for a joyride.
Oh, wow.
Fun.
So, yeah, it didn't matter what time it was, kids will be kids. But in that time, if you're too much of a kid, you're going to jail.
Slay.
Crazy. Some of these are insane. Like, cutting timber, 8 days? So you're just like unauthorized cutting of wood, 8 days?
Nowadays, if you cut the wrong tree, you can be fined $1 million.
Oh, what if it's like a historic tree or something?
Historic tree, or if it's a protected tree.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I think I'd take the 8 days.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, that's cool though.
Now, we also had the Boston Strangler, Albert DeSalvo, in here for a couple days.
Oh.
Ooh.
He was in here for an unsavory crime, a very terrible one, the 4-letter R word.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
And I'm not going to say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Demonetization.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Good looks.
But we get it. We get the picture. So he was only in here for a few days for that?
I believe it was 10.
Did you hear that? Or
That is the
Thursday?
radiator.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm glad we know, like, we can know that now,
Yes.
so we can hear it later and not be like, oh shit.
A click, a somewhat knocking sound. So upstairs is where you'll hear the knocking sound from the radiator.
Okay.
Okay. That's good to know.
On a video we watched earlier, I heard claims of people hearing like chains dragging on the floor.
So, after Joel Clough was hung, we believe he was the very first haunting.
Oh, wow.
Because after he was hung and after he was buried in the back left corner, chains started to be rattled. And
So while it was still an active prison.
Yes.
Oh,
While it was an active prison, people were hearing all these hauntings.
That's always interesting when it's like haunted during the time it's open still. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this could be a bit of a Pottstown situation here.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So in here is a lot of religious graffiti.
Yeah.
We have someone who wrote "Thou shalt not steal," and then you have I believe it is a 1960s depiction of Jesus above the doorway.
Kind of looks like Russell Brand. Wow, that's crazy.
You have everybody who wrote religious graffiti, and then you guys are probably going to want to blur this.
Oh.
But above it is a 5-letter word.
Oh, okay.
That if it's ever in any of your shots, you might want to blur it.
Maybe, okay.
Yeah.
That's, wow.
But then you also have Armando was here.
Slay Armando. You good?
got it. I believe in you.
And right there, you can actually see the other end of the hole.
Gotcha.
And right above us is where 5 men tried to escape. This giant semicircle.
Oh, dang, yeah.
So 4 men made it out. 1 man, who was too large to fit through the hole, got stuck.
No, poor guy.
And so he ratted out his buddies. We do know that 2 were captured. We do not know about the other 2.
They said, we're out of here.
He was eating too good. The food was too good.
That's true. You know what's interesting to me is, like, they had the same layout of the bathroom, like, up here, down there. So, like, they knew where that hole was gonna... They were just really wanting to watch them wash their hands. That's interesting. I mean,
Wow.
unsavory either way.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also my favorite piece of graffiti because it gives you the aspect of all the different types of inmates that were in here.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, on this wall, you can see that there was a Nazi, or
Oh.
a neo-Nazi. You have someone who wrote, "I am a black man." It says, "I am a black man." Then somebody else underneath of it wrote, "Tough shit."
Oh.
Wow.
And then in very, very tiny lettering, right here, It says, the girl downstairs is a damn whore. She told me so.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Okay. She told me so. Jeez.
Wow, they must have been talking through that hole.
I heard you were a damn whore. That's so crazy. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, you also have what I believe to be a pentagram up top there.
Sure looks like it.
Interesting.
And then I think this might have been one of the last pieces drawn, because this is a calendar that goes from 65 to 66.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. They were like, we got to know how many days we've been in here. Are 14 days for abduction up, or what's happening? Yeah. I guess it would have been more then.
We also have I, Floyd Miller, will soon die in my cell of old age and nervous. And then he signed it by FM, age 69, December 10th, 1954.
That's so sad.
Yeah, that's intense.
Oh.
Wow. A lot of sad emotions in that.
Now, I haven't had any paranormal experiences in here, but people have said that they've been touched on their legs, on their back, in here.
Okay. Cool.
A lot of touching going on here.
Very touchy.
But you should be able to get EVPs.
What was
That was the radiator.
Okay,
So
okay,
that
okay.
sound is the radiator.
Thank God. I was like,
So EVP's up here.
Yes.
Okay.
You should get some everywhere, even in the courtyard.
Okay. Interesting. Sweet.
hell yeah.
In here, we call this the boat room, but this was originally 2 debtor cells, which you can tell by the size of the windows.
Because they weren't too worried about them escaping.
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But eventually, this wall was knocked down, and then it was made into a common room.
Yeah, it's interesting that like the people who are here for debt seem to have like bigger, nicer accommodations because they're like, well, you didn't kill anybody.
You didn't improperly, use some logging equipment or something.
True.
They were considered trustees in the prison.
Okay.
They were also even allowed to walk out into town during the day. They were just expected to come back.
And work.
Sometimes they didn't.
I probably wouldn't.
Yeah. I wouldn't either.
It's that boat that you guys see right there. So that is the SS St. Paul. And that was actually made by a quote-unquote lifer. He wasn't a true lifer, but he was just in and out so frequently that he could be considered one.
I got you.
Wow.
And he actually served on this ship as well.
Interesting. Well, Dustin, maybe you can talk to him tonight. Navy guy. So.
In this room, we've gotten names.
Okay.
We've gotten Wesley Warner. This is where Doris Buchanan came from.
Okay.
I've been rubbed on my back in this room. I've felt pressure being put on my back. And at the same time that was happening to me, someone in my tour group had their shoulder and elbow touched.
Wow. Okay.
That's so. Yeah, that's. Yeah. Normally they're not super touchy, so that's very interesting that that's like the.
It happens here a lot.
Yeah.
That could just be their way of expressing their energy.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
It's just interesting because it doesn't happen that often. So, but when you hear of it, it's like, oh shit, okay.
Well, generally speaking, it takes like a lot of energy to do that. So maybe they're just like really strong.
Yeah.
Either that or because of the traffic we get, especially on Saturdays and Sundays, they just hold in and build up all
All
that
that energy
Yeah.
until everyone leaves and you're locking up and they're like, hey,
Yeah.
have a nice night.
Because I haven't set boundaries with them. The only thing I told them is, do not hurt me,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good one.
and do not follow me home.
Yeah.
Those
great
are the
boundaries.
boundaries.
That's basically
Yeah.
ours.
Yeah.
So you're doing good on that.
Yeah. So like, hear the coughing, hear the walking, hear the banging, the doors move and touching all the time.
Wow.
So if you ask for them to do stuff, will they? Like generally speaking?
I haven't ever asked them. I did, however, download an app on my phone just because I'm curious if I
Yeah.
could pick up anything.
Which one?
GhostTube.
We use that sometimes.
Yeah, we love.
Like, I mean, I don't know how accurate it is just because it's an app on the phone.
Yeah.
We would recommend downloading Spirit Talker because it has like a really crazy algorithm. It's kind of like GhostTube where it's like a bank of words, and we get really like crazy stuff on that all the time.
A lot of people
But both are
like,
good.
skeptical about the phone apps and stuff like that, but all that like expensive paranormal equipment you just a microchip on with an app on it. It's the same thing.
It's like just a 3D
The
print.
skeptical part about it is like your phone's on the internet, so like or on Wi-Fi, so it could be like feeding information. But like if you're just using it yourself, you're not like trying to do a video. I don't think it gives a shit. I would just use it for fun and just
Have you gotten good stuff?
So I was in here by myself, and I just had it on, and all of a sudden I heard, "I like this guy," or "I like you."
Well, that's good. They probably, of course, like that you're like so respectful and know all the history and like really care about the place.
Yeah, that makes sense. That adds up. Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
That is really cool.
Run Ghost Tube tonight.
Yeah.
Cool.
We had a medium actually come in here earlier today, and when we went into the dungeon, she said that it felt like they were trying to tell her that it was too cramped because there was too many people in there.
Wow. I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Get out. Too many people.
Cool.
Now it's time to go into the dungeon.
Uh-oh.
Yay!
You love a good dungeon, oh my.
Oh, Ooh.
Feel it a little bit in here.
Yeah.
So basically, in here, this is where anybody who was in solitary confinement or if they were getting set to be hung.
Oh.
So, one man who was in here was Joel Clove, and because he escaped twice, I don't know if they were just angry with him or they were fed up with his escape attempts, but they stripped him of his clothes and chained him to the floor.
Naked?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty demoralizing.
Yeah, that's not very cash money, that's for sure. That's awful.
One of the men that we believe is to be here is Wesley Warner, still. I believe he's the one that was harming me at one point in time.
You got harmed?
Well, every now and then I would, at the exact same point in time of the Wesley Warner story, when I gave tours, every time I said the wrong thing, I would get a stabbing sensation in my shoulder blade.
Oh, wow.
Oh. That's interesting. Was he somebody that stabbed somebody? Was that like something he did?
So, he had this girlfriend, Lizzie Peak, which, oddly enough, we actually had her brother in here for murder as well.
Oh, wow. She was running with the wrong crowd.
So, Lizzie Peak, she was Wesley Warner's girlfriend. Her job was a male escort.
Oh.
And one day, Wesley Warner was angry that she was doing her job. So then he left to go to his home in New York, stayed there for a couple days or a week, and then came back with this plan that was, I'm going to ask her to marry me. If she says no, I'm going to kill her.
Oh, wow. That escalated quickly.
So he went to her boarding house, went up to her room, and was talking to her, and then asked her to marry him. She said no. So then he pulled out the knife, said, "Will you marry me or you will die," basically. She said no. Then he stabbed her.
I mean, way to stick to your guns, girlfriend, though.
Then he left, and then a couple minutes later, she comes stumbling down with the knife in her, and they tried to save her by giving CPR and everything, but they took the knife out of her,
And then
which is the reason she died. Because if they kept it in, she might have survived.
She wouldn't have bled to death. Jeez, that's so sad.
Wow. Oh. So when you would say something inaccurately about his story specifically, that's when you would do that.
Yep, which it didn't happen this time because I left it completely out just to see what would happen, and nothing happened. But
That's interesting.
he claims innocence because he was blind drunk.
Not the best.
Well, you chose to get blind drunk, so that's, okay. Wow.
So, I mean, he was still absolutely guilty,
Yeah, for
regardless.
sure.
Now, the last two to be hung on site, that was George Small and Rufus Johnson. I did a whole research on their story, and I hate it but love it at the same time, because George Small, Rufus Johnson, they went to rob Charles Goodenough's house. They robbed his house, then they left and went separate ways. George Small, he's from Morristown, so he went to go hide in his home. Rufus Johnson is from Raleigh, North Carolina, so he went and hid in the Strawbridge's barn. The Strawbridges had a very successful business here. Florence Allenson, she was a friend of the Strawbridges and was living at that house. Then she went to go take care of the animals while Rufus Johnson was hiding, and then she did her thing, left. He stayed there for a little bit longer. Then when he thought the coast was clear, he got up and started to leave. Then he saw her coming back. So now irritated, he has to go hide again. And so she was doing what she needed to do. He was getting fed up. He jumped out, grabbed a rope from the cows and strangled her.
Oh my God.
And then afterwards grabbed a rod and beat her head in until it was unrecognizable.
That's brutal.
Yeah. Just because he was tired of waiting?
Basically. Because if he waited just a little bit longer, he might have been able to just leave.
Right, and then he wouldn't have, probably would have gotten away.
Wow.
But then after doing that, he walked up to the Strawbridge's home, knocked on the door, and Betsy, Florence Allenson's 8 to 10-year-old adopted daughter, opened the door and said, "Come on in. I'm waiting for my mommy to get back from the barn. I'm going to surprise her by setting the table." And so Betsy was showing Rufus Johnson around the house. They got up close to the attic, and then he says, "Why don't you go play up in the attic? I'll wait for your mom." So she's up in the attic playing. He's ransacking the house, and he stole a pocket watch that we have on display outside of the dungeon.
Wow.
And that was his ultimate downfall, because he tried to pawn it off.
He got caught.
Yep, because the pawn shops were notified.
Wow.
Wow. And so he didn't harm the little girl.
No, he did not.
Thank God. Oh gosh, I was holding my breath on that one.
Okay, that's crazy.
That's so scary.
And he stayed in here
Yes.
at some point. Okay.
So then he was arrested, he was put in here, and then his trial went on. His statement says that it was only him on that property. He was the one that killed her. Nobody else was with him. Then witnesses say that it was only Rufus Johnson there, nobody else. Betsy said it was just him, nobody else. And then he was found guilty. His execution date, March 13th. Then a few days later, before his execution, George Small gets arrested for the robbery of Charles Goodenough's house. He was coerced into a confession, with the lead detective being Ellis Howard Parker.
Oh, and all full circle.
Yep.
Wow.
And so now Rufus Johnson's execution is now put on hold for George Small's trial. And throughout that trial, he ends up insisting he was coerced into a confession, but he was still found guilty.
So for a crime he didn't do.
Basically.
Even though he had performed a crime with him before.
Yes, but one that was not death sentence.
Yeah.
Of course.
Jeez.
So he ended up getting hung.
Yep, they were hung together on the same day. They were also both chained in here together. Now, on their date of the hanging, hundreds of people came in to try to watch the hanging. So much so that people climbed on top of rooftops to watch the hanging. One man also climbed on top of a telephone pole to watch the hanging.
What year is this?
1906.
Oh God, that's so crazy. Like people just used to be like, let's go watch. I mean, I guess you still technically do that, but like,
I was just about to say that, like, when you hear stories like that, it makes you think, like, because you look around the world today and you're like, oh, everyone's so crazy and everyone's crazy and unhinged and, like, it was just as crazy then. You just didn't have ways to see it. I mean, people were trying to climb a telephone pole to watch someone die. That's gnarly. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's crazy.
And that man was arrested after he came down the telephone pole.
of course he was.
Got him.
The way that it went with the hanging, they actually paraded them one at a time throughout the prison. then brought him out through the door down in the basement, and Rufus Johnson was reported as being okay, like he was at peace, knowing that this was going to happen. And so he was hung. His body was brought back inside the prison, right through that door in the basement. Then George Small paraded around the prison, brought out through the basement to the gallows, looking distraught, because he's trying to say that he wasn't
guilty.
Yeah, of course.
And so he was hung, body was brought back to where Rufus Johnson was, and then the crowd stormed the gallows to get souvenirs of the hanging.
Like what? Like the rope and...
Which we do have a piece of that.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Wow.
And a guard by the name of John Throckmorton brought his son in to watch the hanging, and he actually drew two pictures of these men while they're on the gallows, which we also have those as well.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's really... Oh, that's so upsetting for the little kid. But cool that you guys have it.
Paranormal aspect in here, I have been squeezed, and I felt a face staring this close at me.
Oh.
Every now and then I'll feel my chain get moved.
Wow.
Sometimes I'll get something, it feels like someone's tapping me on my back. I'll get the rubbing sensation again, the shoulder taps.
Wow.
A lot of people, when they come in here, as soon as they cross the threshold, they say their chest immediately gets heavy.
You know what's so funny is this whole time I'm like, dude, my chest hurts and my throat is dry. I feel like I'm gonna I'm almost suffocating a little bit. Not actually, but the sensation.
In here from out
And
there.
usually, as soon as they walk right back out, it stops.
Yeah.
Same thing with me, the feeling, if I feel anything, as soon as I walk out, gone.
That's so crazy.
Wow.
There's a different energy in here for sure, you can tell.
So I guess that means I'm doing a solo in here probably.
Have fun. Won't be me. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Dang. That's so crazy.
But the dungeon is more centralized with the feelings.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's...
Hot spot for sure.
I don't like that room.
I'm going in. I'm going by myself. I'll do it.
Have fun,
I'll
Nick.
do it.
Wouldn't be me.
And then in here, you'll see the cells on how they looked at the end of the prison's lifetime.
Oh.
So a little bit more space, with bunks in them and stuff like that. Okay.
I mean, you say a little bit more space, but when it was overcrowded, there was 2 sets of bunk beds
Oh, wow.
for 4 inmates.
Yeah.
How did they fit that in there?
It would basically be up against both sides of the wall.
With
And-
very little space in between?
There are reports of them having to climb through their bunk beds to get out of their cell doors.
Wow.
That's unwell.
And you have what I call the doggy bowls in there as well.
Yeah, they do look like dog bowls.
They sure do, yeah.
Spot on with that one.
Yeah.
Some people get weird feelings when they're over here, mainly because I think, if I read correctly, this is the murder row,
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh.
which you can also see the blocked openings in the back of the cells there as well.
So they weren't allowed to go to the bathroom through there.
Correct. I believe at one point they did also have, each cell had a bathroom, not each bathroom had a cell.
Okay. Wow.
So definitely this is a big floor to focus on tonight.
Yeah, I do. It does feel a little weird over here. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Up there, you actually see some more graffiti.
Wow, that eye is creepy.
Now, that actually says, "We're watching you, you can't get out." It's done by prisoners.
Oh, wow.
And you also have a bail bondsman's phone number.
In case you ever need it.
I mean, that's good advertisement
Yeah.
right there. Oh, wow. Okay.
So this corridor was used for the warden's wife to come be an unpaid matron to the women in the prison.
Okay.
So she had a nice view of the gallows on the days of hangings.
Yeah, jeez.
Wow.
It seemed like they were interested in watching that stuff anyway. She probably was standing right here.
I'll take you guys outside now.
Awesome. Wow, that's freaking crazy.
You gotta go in and out through the... You are now in the courtyard.
Okay.
And over there by that tree is where Joel Clough is buried.
Oh, wow.
It's a spooky tree.
Yeah.
As well.
Now a daughter and father were back over there getting their picture taken, and the daughter was standing there by herself, and after the picture she goes up to her dad and says, "Dad, there was a man standing next to me."
Oh, don't like that.
And over at the gallows, somebody, or the previous museum attendant, actually saw two figures walking up and down the gallows.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yikes on that one.
So now the gallows, they were actually constructed and deconstructed on the days of hangings.
Really? So they didn't just leave it up?
Nope, for mainly safety reasons, and also so that way the prisoners who got lucky enough to come out into the courtyard couldn't find a weapon.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And those white doors right there, that was actually how they brought in the guests for the hangings, or how they would bring in supplies.
Wow. So did anybody ever get out through those doors?
Not that I have found as of yet.
That's interesting. They were chiseling through walls, but those doors, they were stopping them.
Kick down the wood doors.
My guess is they probably had someone stationed there
Oh,
when
okay.
everybody was outside.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Wow.
They're just right in front of that tree over there, huh?
Yep, right in that tree area.
We'll definitely have to do some EVPs out there later.
Yeah. That's crazy. How high is this wall? Like a billion feet.
Very high.
Very high.
Enough.
I couldn't climb it.
Well, not high enough, because many
I
people
guess, yeah.
escaped
That's
with
true,
it.
That's true. Not quite high enough.
Wow.
Okay.
That's so crazy. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much
dude, thank
for
you so
doing
much.
this. That was like seriously so nice of you.
Yeah,
Anytime.
we never get like our tours are usually like, whatever, over there, over there. It was really, really informative, and you didn't even have to do it. You weren't even on the you weren't supposed to be on the clock, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love history. I love teaching history to anybody, so.
Yeah, so make sure that you guys come here, check it out. And do you want to just give the plug of when it's open again? And yep.
So it is open Thursday through Saturday, 10 to 4, and then Sunday, 12 to 4.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we'll go ahead and include the link to the website where you can like book privates and stuff, and you can just come do day tours and stuff like that, like he said. So yeah, definitely check them out. This place is really cool.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a visit.
It's going to be an interesting night.
I know, I'm so excited.
What the f? You.
What about me?
I think you just said dangerous.
Dangerous? Is someone here dangerous?
That was creepy. And you.
That's weird.
It just stopped everything and said murder. The warden. Lexi.
Oh, great.
Girl. No. Nope.
What?
I don't feel it.
What is it?
I don't feel it. Something touched me.
There's a shapeshifter.
So I think we are going to split it up.
Oh.
He scares me.
Oh no.
Where a warden was actually murdered right in here. Oh no! Holy shit, what was that?